Hello and welcome to the International Daily Roundup with People's Dispatch, where we bring you some of the top stories of the day. Beginning with our first story, US President Donald Trump was impeached by the House of Representatives on Wednesday. We talked to Prashant on the process and its implications. So, Prashant, as was expected, Donald Trump was impeached in the House of Representatives, where Democrats hold a majority. And now this will move on to the Senate,
Right.
where he will have to face a trial. But in the Senate, the Republicans have a majority. So, what do you feel? What do you think is expected in the next few months?
Yeah, so first of all, we need to, of course, remember the fact that whatever happens in the Senate, this is a historic moment, so to speak, for lack of a better word, because Trump is only the third US president to be impeached by the House of Representatives after Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. So, all said and done, it is a major step. Nonetheless, the possibilities of anything major happening in the Senate are almost impossible because, like you said, you need 67 seats out of the 100 in the Senate for the president to be impeached. And the Democrats don't even have a majority of 50 or 51. So there seems almost no chance of Trump actually being removed from the presidency. And what it looks like is actually rather the possibility of a long drawn, continuous and very, say, extensive set of discussions and trials in the Senate, which will be very time consuming. Some of the key Democratic candidates, presidential candidates such as Bernie Sanders, will have to attend the trial. Yeah. And this may actually take away from the time the Democrats can actually spend on issues like unemployment, issues like the declining infrastructure in the US, the economic problems that people face. So the issues on which the Democrats actually have a chance actually might be pushed to the back end. And instead we'll have the issue of impeachment coming to the fore. And opinion polls actually show that actually the support for Trump's impeachment has come down. So right now maybe a majority of people even don't support the impeachment. And Trump's own popularity rating has gone up. So it's now around 45%, where it was 39% before the impeachment proceedings began. So it is very possible that the upcoming trial in the Senate is actually going to give Trump more of a boost. He's already begun that by writing a letter, which is very abusive towards Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, but nonetheless already sets the lines for his campaign, in which he will continuously hammer the Democrats and mobilize his base. And there might also be people who see the whole impeachment process as a huge distraction, as annoying, and switch off, which means that Trump's chances of mobilizing people actually increase, while the benefits the Democrats might get out of this process are quite slim.
Thank you, Prashant, for talking to us. We will keep following this story. And moving on to our second story, massive protests took place in India against the Discriminatory and Divisive Citizenship Amendment Act. The police responded with repression, detaining people in the hundreds in a bid to prevent the mass mobilizations. The largest mobilizations took place in the capital, New Delhi, where thousands gathered at multiple points in spite of heavy police presence. Leaders of major leftist parties, including the CPIM, CPI, and CPI-ML, were detained. Prominent social activists, academics, and students were also detained. Ahead of the protest, curfew-like conditions were imposed in most major Indian cities, and a partial internet shutdown was imposed in New Delhi. The Citizenship Amendment Act speeds up citizenship for refugees of various religious communities except Muslims who hail from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. This is linked to the process of a proposed National Register of Citizens, which is likely to require all Indians to prove their citizenship with documents. Critics of the move say that these processes are targeted at Muslims in India and will effectively turn them into second-class citizens. Ever since the law was proposed by the far-right government of Narendra Modi, massive protests have broken across the country. And finally, moving on to Israel, Israeli Air Force fighter jets conducted airstrikes on Gaza early on Thursday. So far, no information has emerged about casualties. Israel claimed that the airstrikes were in response to a rocket fired from Gaza. Subsequently, Israeli fighter jets targeted sites in Gaza that, according to them, belong to Hamas, the Palestinian Resistance Organization. Israel also announced that it will be reducing the permitted fishing zone for the Gaza Strip to 10 nautical miles until further notice. Today's airstrikes come a day after Israeli aircraft fired a missile to kill a Palestinian man who they said was approaching the Gaza-Israeli border fence and who, according to them, was also armed. Israeli soldiers accompanied by bulldozers later crossed the border fence in the area east of Khan Yunis and snatched away the body of the dead Palestinian. Medical sources in Gaza later identified the Palestinian man as Abdullah Ahmad Abu Tair. who was 18 years old and who hailed from Abasan al-Kabira in Khan Yunis in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. And that is all we have for today's episode of the International Daily Roundup. For more such stories and videos, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for watching.
Cantar que vamos a triunfar, avanza ya.